So I mean, what's the difference? Just fix it in the basement.
Yes, but if there's a radon issue to deal with, then I will. If there's no radon issue, I don't want to waste the money on all this work and system because there's plumbing and piping and fan and there's
Yep.
stuff to do. So, because then you can put it's a conduit, like you put pipe
Yes.
underneath the concrete so that whatever comes
Yes.
up hits the concrete and goes up.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Actually, just thought.
Did it work?
No, it didn't. So I did something and I think it went this time.
All right. I did something and that worked. All right.
I don't know what I did.
I'll take that. All right. Good evening, everybody. Everybody's got. Oh, Doug's leaving. Oh no, he's getting a coat. He's cold. Are you cold? Donna, did you turn it down? It's so cold in here.
Holy cow. Yeah.
It's okay, we all got our coats on. It's 20 degrees in here.
It's 20 degrees.
Sure. Well, tonight we're gonna invite
Nobody. Everybody's getting their own little cocoon, little pod of heating HVAC units that little like during COVID, you get your little zones of that.
Oh, we're good. Rivers work all good. Oh. Sorry.
It took me a long time to figure out what that was when I would see
But it got under. I know.
Oh, you sound something.
Janet,
Oh,
she wears this thing to work. Like it's just it looks like earphones, but
Oh.
it's kind of
like a cooling thing?
yeah, it's a fan.
Well, that's cool. So,
That's some
all right. We continue with this premise that what is official about water? That is very often the most important things in our lives are things we've never given any consideration to. And when we do, it can lead to gratitude or it can lead to great change. Oh, I never thought of it that way before we get this crisis. So one of the two areas that undermine our behaviors, our worldview, how we think about life, not just what we think, but how we think, are our understandings of time and place. So I would like each table to come up with 3 songs about time and 3 songs that are about a place. Yes, not an original one.
Right.
Not time in a bottle. Good. All right. So Doug and Bonnie, 3 songs about time in the title or the theme or place in that where place plays a role. So, and you cannot use I Wish They'd All Be California Girls because that's an illustration of a song about place. 3 songs about time and 3 songs about place.
We actually heard it on.
Yeah, short slipping, slipping.
Like how we a lot of times.
Okay. By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising. Which is also about a place. By the time I get to Phoenix, yeah,
What's the other one you need?
place. Johnny Cash running back to Saskatoon. Burton Cummings from New York. Okay, good. All right, save them. Just wait. All right. All right. This table is doing good. Okay, 3 songs about time. Go.
This kill a time, this kill a beat.
Oh, this kill. Oh, yeah, very good. George Strait, isn't it?
Clint Black.
Clint Black, that's it. Okay, time. Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. Time Keeps on Ticking, Ticking.
Yeah.
Any other time ones you could think of? Steve Miller. Yeah, any other time ones?
Amarillo.
That's really good. Amarillo by Morning, which is time and place. Good. By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising, time and place. 3 songs about place. From New York to LA, Gloria Gaynor. Operator remote. Song about a place. What's that? Guitar Town. From the
Sick back.
okay. The soundtrack from Cars with the small town.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. This table. No, this table had a bit of an advantage. Myers, 3 songs about time. Oh, time after time. Yesterday, all my troubles were so. Okay, good. 3 songs about place. Oh, California was the second one. Oh, at the Copa, Barry Manilow. Music and passion were always in fashion at the Copa. I fell in love. All right, Barry Manilow got a lot of. Okay, I'm not going to quit my day job, but I got a good repertoire. All right, the book of Colossians and much of the New Testament built on 2 concepts of time and place. One is the Jewish concept of time, and the Roman concept of place. What's interesting is that the Jews had very little place, just Israel, but they had a lot of time. Rome had a lot of place, but their history was quite short. It has been said this of Canada, that Canada has a lot of place and very little time, while Great Britain has a little place and a lot of time. So their concepts of those ideas of time and place were very much tied to their story and where they lived. So Israel had a great concept of time, their sense of place, because they'd lost their place, they've been in exile, they'd come, this sense of place. Well, Rome, as we study tonight, we'll see, had a very, very, very poor view of time, but they had a great sense of place. So Colossians, Paul's message to this Christian church in a Roman city, written by a Jewish man to a community that was part Jewish, part pagan, blends this, and he roots his theology in his understanding of place and time. So, when it comes to time, how do you perceive time? Yeah, so you feel it moving quicker? Good.
And yet you look back and you're like, did I do that?
Yeah, it feels got a lot of Christmases in the background.
Say, time is the only currency we spend without knowing how much we have left.
Oh,
Yes.
very good. Yeah.
Time is a currency that we spend without knowing how much we have.
Huh. Isn't that
Good.
right?
Dr. Bonnie, how do you perceive time? Short, the brevity of it. What's up, Bonnie? Okay, walk me through that.
It's about being on to things last a certain length of time.
Yeah, there's a sense of its mechanical nature. I was wisely advised that it's better to be 20 minutes too early than 5 minutes too late. Because 5 minutes too late can be a lifetime. Good. Anybody else? How you perceive time?
Depends what I'm doing.
Good. Time is relative to what you're doing, right? 4 seconds with your hand on the stove is forever compared to 4 hours on that number of TransCanada, which can feel like forever.
Say something about time of day is Peter, that's
Great.
on that little
I
day
don't
is
He said it at one
yeah,
of your
the
things.
day is slow, the lifetime is
know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's moments where, yeah, the days can be slow, but the weeks can be.
Yeah.
That's
It's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it.
okay. That's a good segue into place. Now, this has got me thinking about it today because your sense of place is probably very different than my sense of place. So, Doug and Bonnie, how long have you lived here in your current house?
29 years.
And Doug, how long have you lived in Leader? Right. And Bonnie, you've lived in how many communities?
she's been here.
4. So distinctly different. Good. I know. I often, when I drive down the road, I often think, how many times has Danny driven down this road? And I think of the tens of thousands of times that. So your sense of place would be different than my sense of place. You know, I sat with Lionel. I went through all the places I've lived and all the towns and stuff, and my sense of place is very different because I've never lived very long in one place. Like 13 years is the longest I've ever lived in one place, and that felt like an eternity. Because by the end of 12, I was like, what, to do? I don't feel that way anymore. But at that time, in your 40s, right? What's your sense of place when you think about it? Is it a sense of permanency? Yeah. Home. Yeah. And all that that word contains. Good. What else comes to mind when you think about place?
Contentment.
Contentment. Good. Strength.
I think you live in one place. I lived in 10 places.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, 10.
so to understand that wherever you are,
Yeah. That's right.
Glad
Very
you're
different
for a
sense of
reason.
place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I think often about where I grew up and I long for that place.
Yeah. Nostalgia, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I moved 15 times in the last 14 years.
Yeah. It's insane, isn't it? Your sense of place is very different than Danny and Joyce's.
3 provinces. Twice in one province. 3 times in one province. 4 or 5. Oh, like the rest is all in one province.
So what makes you feel a sense of place, Joey? What gives you security of place?
Just like the way I feel right now about our place, I know that we get to stay here.
Ah,
Make
yeah.
it our own. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I bought the place, it's finally home. Before that, it
Right.
was.
We're supposed to say, I'm your home.
Wherever you are, Dylan, you're my home.
That's why I'm a hanger this time.
I find it fascinating that when men go camping, they build the place. Like they're doing everything. They're getting the woods. They're not building nests. They're building forts. Like men build forts where they're like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, right? Where women tend to build the inside of the kit, like they build the nest, right? Where men build the fort. We got to put our wood here, and we got to go get that. And then there's water, propane, ice.
And then you can't go in it because you'll make it dirty.
That's right. Then you can't go in. Yeah. So men have a very strong sense of place, but it's a different sense of place than women. These are broad generalizations, but I do find it fascinating when men camp. They are building the fort. They're hanging the blue tarps up.
Yes.
They're doing all the fort is built. Doug's shop, right? He's built his fort. He's got his upper room with his TV. Or this shop. So we have different senses of time and place that each one of us has experienced. Again, there's a sense that place is when I oftentimes I'll just close the door downstairs and I'll just read sit in the chair and read, and the whole world when I close that door, the world cannot get to me, right? There's that safe feeling that nothing can get to me now, and I can relax and read or do whatever I want, and that place is very, especially as someone who writes a lot, place is very, very important. And I write better in some places than I do in other places. So place is critical. So let me just give you a little insight into time as we move into this, because we need to lay the foundation of how Jews think about time and how Romans think about place, and how Romans think about place and how Jews and time. I looked up the definition of time. Time is the continuous, irreversible flow of existence from past to future. What does it tell you how that person thinks about time? The irresistible flow of existence from past to future. Never stops. So since you can't stop time, this linear sense, right? Okay. Augustine said this: if no one asks me about time, I know what it is. If I wish to explain it to him who asks, I don't know. I like that. What's that, Doug?
Kid. Like your
Yeah.
takes forever.
And don't the days feel long as a kid? Yeah. Remember those Saturday afternoons or Sunday afternoons, and they just felt like they were forever.
It seems like
Yeah.
your entire life, time is working against you. But
Yeah.
as a kid, it won't move, and then you grow up and it won't stop.
Exactly. This relative experience of it too.
Now there's just not enough hours in a day.
Here is, sorry, Doug. And then here is the latest I could find on time. This is called the quantum time theory. This is the most recent time idea. This idea stems from cutting-edge quantum theory suggesting that time is not linear. In this framework, the conventional past, present, future sequence is more flexible with quantum processes, allowing events to influence each other in a non-linear fashion. Time folds on itself. The actions we perceive as the present might retroactively affect fixed outcomes that are fixed in the past. So in quantum theory, what you do today can affect the past. And what you, yeah, oh, yeah. Wait, we're just starting to wiggle that string. Okay. All right. Within Judaism, they view time in 3 aeons or eons. The time of chaos, which was Adam until the law, and then the time of Torah, which was from the giving of the law until the coming of the Messiah, and then the age of the Messiah. So they view time in 3 great aeons. This was everything that happened before the Torah, and then each of these was divided or ushered in by a cataclysm. So Mount Sinai, the Exodus, Egypt, that's the cataclysm between here, and then when the Messiah comes, there'll be another cataclysm between there. So the Jews view time in 3 great seasons, 3 great aeons. All right. Here's the fun part about Rome now. When Romans view time, Romans have very, very little literature about time. They don't talk about time. Now, it's interesting. Christianity, if we go through the scriptures, 1/3 of scripture is about the future. It's prophetic. So what Romans believed about time was very different. They believed that time was cyclical, just spun round and round and round. And they didn't believe in a progression of time. They believed that the seasons, that time actually was just a cycle over and over and over again of destruction and rebirth, death and birth, death and birth, death and birth, back and forth, back and forth. Their concept of time was stable. They wanted stasis or stability. They wanted to maintain power. And so everything they did was to maintain stability. They didn't want change. Where Jews were, they looked at the past, saw a cataclysm that produced change, and looked forward to a great change. The Romans didn't want change. They wanted a stable timeline. Why? Because what would change due to the empire?
Weaken it or something.
Weaken it or threaten it. So they didn't want anything that would threaten the empire. They wanted to maintain the status quo of their power base. What they focused on was called posterity when they thought about the future. We may talk about posterity, and that is the focus on the continuity of life. So, if I'm wealthy, what do I want for my children? I want them to be as wealthy, right? My posterity to them. I want them to continue. If we are in the upper orders of society, in the equestrian class, what do we want for our children?
The same.
Right. We don't want change. Now, we may, over time, move up a little bit, but we certainly don't want any degradation. We want to give our children this, and we want them to remember our contribution. Why?
Yeah,
So don't forget us. Exactly. So our character, nature, and accomplishments stay the same. Because what happens is when we accomplish a great number of things in our lifetime, then we die and they're forgotten. Well, they want that remembrance, and they want their name to be as great next year as it is this year. They want their name to be as great 50 years down. Dylan, remember me.
Remember.
Exactly. So what did the Romans? That's a Futurama reference. So what did the Romans do? The wealthy built columns and triumph arches and buildings and memorials, right? They wanted their name to be as great in the future as it was in the past. And so they would do all these endowments, these statues and all this stuff. We do this today too, right? People donate. We want our name on building. Well, maybe we don't, but people put their name on a building, the plaque, so that we get our posterity. We get a continuation of our fame or gratitude or whatever you want to call it. So where Jews saw change with chaos, the Romans had very little. Actually, if you look at their literature, they don't talk about the future at all. They had no science fiction. They had no messianic prophecies. They believed that the gods controlled the future. So you wanted to know what the gods wanted to do. So you paid observance to the gods, but you didn't. And anyway, you couldn't influence the future at all. Only the gods could influence the future. All you wanted was to maintain power, wealth, status, and the empire of all things had to be maintained. Does that make sense? So we get a very different sense of time. Here we almost don't get a sense of time at all. Cathedrals in Europe were built over 500 years, right? 10 generations. This sense of posterity. In our world, time is always in flux, right? Constantly in motion. Can you imagine using the same set of tools that your grandfather before, and knowing full well that your children's children will use the same set of tools or same technology? We're so caught up in technological advancement that this concept is almost mind-boggling. We update our phones every 2 years, 3 years. How many forms of music material have you had in your lifetime? I'll start with one. You probably at some point owned sheet music. So that's the first way of translating or transporting music. Okay. Sheet music became radio. Okay. Now it's not just in front of us, played. Now music is transported through radio. What's the next step? What's that? Well, one step before. Records. So we go from
8-track and cassettes.
Yeah, we go from 78 to 33 to 45, and then we go to 8 tracks, and then from 8 tracks we go to cassette. From cassette we go to CD. From CD we go to MP3, and now we're at
Just
streaming, right? And who knows what's happening? Yeah, and the cloud, right? So all within our lifetimes. Right? 1, 2. Yeah. So if we go, let's say print. Now we were probably all born in radio and television. Let's say we were all born in records. So records, 8 tracks, cassettes, CDs, MP3 players, to streaming. So we've seen 6 versions of our music.
A gentleman I just met last week said, in regards to, I guess he'd be another 20 years older than you guys for sure, but he said, my generation, there'll never be another generation like mine that saw such change from such poverty to such wealth. There will never be another generation that saw that much change to the positive.
Yeah, our generation, and maybe our parents' generation, the ones that are like Myrtles, they have seen the most change in history.
Yeah.
Right. So this concept would be alien to Roman, but it's so prevalent in our minds that we fatigue with change. All right. Then there's a concept called the 3 kingdoms.
But that Roman idea would be very short term, not big picture.
No, there's no longevity, but you want permanence. So in some senses, it's an incredible view of longevity because you want your legacy to last 1,000 years.
But in a belief that you can control it.
That's right. Yeah, because you can't, because only the gods can control, right? So you're constantly uncertain because only the gods know the future. So you want to either access the gods through fortune tellers and that, or you want to please the gods to make sure things stay in your favor. And that's why Romans hated Christians, because they were upsetting the gods. So when the fires came, they blamed the Christians on the fall of Rome because the Christians were the ones upsetting the posterity.
Right.
So this will all come together quite neatly as we get into Colossians, but for now we've got to work through these basics. All right, the 3 kingdoms. I don't like this stuff. All right. First is the kingdom of God, and that is creation. God creates. So we get perfection. This is Eden. How long did they live in the garden?
At least 9 months.
At least 9 months. Yeah, we have no idea, right? Then we get a catastrophe.
They didn't have a kid in the garden.
Because she got pregnant, so at least 9 months. Good. Then we get the kingdom of Satan. Kingdom. Right, Joyce, could you read Ephesians 2:2, and Danny, could you read Ephesians 6:12? Oh. Ephesians 2:2.
In which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and of the ruler of the kingdom of the air, the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient.
So now at work, right? This is Satan is the ruler of this kingdom. Danny, Ephesians 6:12.
We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts and wickedness in heavenly places.
Good. The rulers of the darkness of
This age.
this age. So the rulers of this age. So who is the king of the world now? Who's the king of the world? Who's the no? Oh, that's different. Water, 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 water. All right. We now live in the kingdom of Satan. This is the prince of the power of the air. He is the ruler of this age. This is the now time. Okay, we're gonna get
I mean, I know where God's still.
very good, very good. Your theology is good.
Yes.
God is sovereign, but he rules. We'll let you wrestle with that one. All right. And then the coming is the kingdom of whom? Of the Son. Of the perfect Son. Very good. Yes. And that is Colossians 1:13, Donna.
Darkness transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son.
So we are delivered, and we're going to get into this whole, because these lines are about to get blurred pretty fast. That this is the three kingdoms mindset, that there is the kingdom of God, then the kingdom of Satan, and then the coming kingdom of his Son. Now, don't get too lost for now in the now, not yet. That's where we're going to land tonight. But for now, let's keep it simple before we get Jewish thinking, get lots of blurring going on. All right. So this is the three kingdoms model. This results in an idea that we can usher in the kingdom of the Son, but that's a whole other story. We'll get. Then along comes a fella, you've got your notes in front of you on page 2, called John Nelson Darby. And in the mid to late 1800s, John Darby creates a doctrine called dispensationalism. And rather than 3, 1, or 3, with Judaism 3, the kingdoms 3, and Romans 1, Darby comes up with 7 ages. Now, I'm not going to write these down there in front of me. And he calls them dispensations. That is, under each era or aeon or era, that the rules are maintained here, then God ushers in through cataclysm or radical change, a new era, and a new set of rules apply. So the first dispensation is called the dispensation of innocence. It goes from Genesis 1 to Genesis 2. This is the story of the Garden of Eden. And what are the rules of the Garden of Eden?
Just don't touch that tree.
Just don't touch that tree. That's it. The rest, go have at it, right? Have at you. Go play with the snakes, the bears. Go enjoy life, right? Eat anything you want. Play with the animals. Life is good, right? Build your kingdom. Good. Where is God in the story? He's very present, right? So God is present. Where is Satan in the story for the most part?
Sidelines.
Hiding in that tree.
Sorry, buddy, what's that? Exactly. He's virtually absent, right? He's not in the story till later on. He's there, but he's not of influence until the shift. And then the second dispensation is called the dispensation of conscience. And that lasts from Adam and Eve's eviction until the flood. And what's the world like during that time? Evil. It's crazy, right? There's the Nephilim. There's all this stuff going on. There's chaos. There's Satan is, unleashed. Man falls into depravity. And those days of Noah, eating and drinking and having marriage, and it's this era of there's an era of chaos. Okay, that's the second dispensation. Third dispensation is called the dispensation of human government, which lasts from the flood until the time of the giving of the law. Okay, we're not going to break these down, but that's it. The fourth one is the dispensation of the promise, which is the call of Abraham until the giving of the law. And then we get the fifth dispensation, the dispensation of the law, which lasts 1,500 years from Exodus until the time Jesus dies. Then the sixth dispensation is the one we now live in, the dispensation of grace or the church age, which they say occurs in the 69th and 70th week of Daniel. We're not going to get into this, but they believe in a pre-rapture of the church. So this age ends when the church is raptured before the 7-year tribulation. And the seventh dispensation is called the millennial kingdom, which will last for 1,000 years as Christ himself rules on earth. This kingdom will fulfill the prophecies that Christ will return and be their king. So Darby creates these dispensations, and that has a lot to do with their view of end times, of the rapture, of the relationship between the church and Israel. A lot of times these people believe that the church is the new Israel, that the promises of Israel apply to the church today. So these are old. This is a very old school, but a lot of people are still dispensationalists. So what difference do you see between that and the other ones?
Broken down more.
A lot more detailed, isn't it? Yeah, he subjugates eras very precisely. Good. If you take some of these ideas and you push them far enough, one of the places you can end up with is called Kingdom Now. And let me read you this. Kingdom Now theology is the belief within certain charismatic movements of Protestant Christianity. Kingdom Now believe that God lost control over the world to Satan when Adam and Eve sinned. So up to that point, God was in control of the world. So this fits with our kingdom theology, right? Now we're in the kingdom of Satan. Ever since then, God has been trying to reestablish control over the world. God has desperately been fighting to regain control over the world. And what he does is he seeks out a group of people called the covenant people or the overcomers or Joel's army. That may be a name you bump into. And that through these people, social institutions, particularly government and laws, will then be brought under God's authority. So this is Kingdom Now theology, that our job as believers is to bring about the reign and the rule that God once had way back in Genesis, now into the current age. That means we have to take over government, we have to take over the arts, we have to take over literature, we have to take over business, we have to usher in the kingdom. The belief is that since believers are indwelt by the Holy Spirit, same as Jesus, we have all authority on heaven and earth. We have power to believe for and speak into existent things that are not, and thus bring about the kingdom age. So they see the coming of Jesus in two stages. First, through the flesh of believers, us. But secondly, when we then hand the kingdom over to him. So what we do is we establish the kingdom on earth. We make God's kingdom here on earth, and then he comes back and we say, now thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. But we're the ones who establish it. Kingdom Now claims that Jesus cannot return until all his enemies have been put under the feet of the church and handed over to Christ. Now, does that make sense, even if you don't agree with it? Does the logic sit? What do you think about it?
There's parts of that that are good. I mean, we are supposed to be, as Christians, a net gain to the world. We're supposed
Absolutely.
to bring that light wherever we go, right? Absolutely. We're salt and light. So there's aspects of that I agree with.
Yes, there are parts of it that are, and that's why it's born in a good idea. The challenge of it is that we bring all things under his control, that the church ultimately rules over business, this is the Seven Mountains mandate, right? So the church will then rule over business, arts, government, that we will usher in. This is, what do you call it now? Oh, it's happening in the States. Dominion theology. That there are Christian nations where all the nation is Christian. So that's
nationalism.
Christian nationalism. Yes, it's all rooted in Kingdom Now theology.
Manifest destiny. Or
you betcha. You're catching the words. That's all part of Kingdom Now theology. What's the problem with that?
We can do that.
Yeah.
Gives the power to.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It puts us as the one ushering in the kingdom. Yeah. And I honestly don't know if anybody's ever read Revelation who believes that. That because Satan is the prince of the power of this air, right? That he will be only overthrown through Christ. All right.
It's going to get worse.
It is going to get worse before it gets better. Absolutely. It's going to get worse before it gets worse, and then it's going to get worse, a lot worse, and it will be such a time as tribulation as the world has never seen. And then the end shall come. All right. Now we have to switch our thinking to Jewish thinking. Oh, we have two social here.
What?
So now we've got to shift out of a Greek idea of time.
Not Tulsa time, but
No,
Jewish.
we're not on Tulsa time. Oh, I really got to sing. Living on Tulsa time. I need a guitar just to lean on.
Yep, that's right.
All right.
Good, mama.
Western time, West Central time, is a chain. Events of the past are linked, connected, and create the next phase, right? So we look at the events of World War II. That was because of the events of World War I. When the German army surrendered at Versailles and created the Versailles Treaty, which basically bankrupted Germany, that the response to that was the rise of the National Socialist Party, right? So these events are linked and causative of the next event. And we can look back and we can see the chain. So, man and woman fall in love. Where did you meet? Yeah. Weimar, Saskatchewan. Falls in love, has a child who goes on to be, hit the world's worst mass murderer and so on. You can look back to the history of the stuff. One of the guys that
I knew that was going to take a dark.
finds a cure for cancer. Hi. Cause it.
Any publicity is good publicity.
So this is a Western mindset. Causative. So this is cause and effect. Right? We can affect the future by changing the cause in the present. And the causes in the present are experienced because of the effects of the past. That makes sense? This is pretty much how we view time. Right? It's not that these things don't affect today. We're not, we're not saying, there's a logical story here, right? That's why we study history. Those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. So this is a very Western concept of time, which gives us then power over the future, right? So we can have an effect on the future, which is good. Right? Cause and effect, past, present, and future are linked but distinct. Okay, that's a very Western idea. And bless you for thinking that way. That's how you do. All right. Judaism, not so much. Judaism believes in what's called the woven string. Okay. Or the auger. I like the auger. All right, go on to the page with the illustrations.
Cyclical.
How are we doing for time?
It's ticking away.
It's ticking away into the future.
Into the future.
All right. The Jewish word for year is Shana.
No.
Yeah. Sing it. It's a night of music. Shana. It's good. You got it down. Okay. It is the word to repeat and change. Judaism follows with an auger mindset. And that is, there's two elements here. That is, there is repetition. The seasons go round and round and round and round. That's why it's a lunar calendar. We follow the season of the moon. We celebrate, the weeks go round. Shabbat to Shabbat. Goes around. The months go round from moon to moon. The years go around from moon to moon. And the experience of today is a repetition of the experience of the past. So we have Passover. Why?
To remember.
To remember. And we reenact it. We have bread, all those symbols, right? So that we are experiencing today what happened in the time of Moses. We taste the food that the children of Israel ate. We taste the bitter herbs. We taste their tears. So that we are continually re-experiencing the events of the past. And they are continuing to shape us and to affect us. Israel sings the same songs. Why? because that way you're experiencing the same thing your parents, your fathers, your forefathers, all the way back to Israel sang, right? So when you sit in a room and sing that music without instruments, you sing it a cappella, you sing the song, you are doing the exact same thing that somebody did 4,000 years ago. You are having the exact same experience, relatively speaking, right? So what is the advantage of this, and why is this so important?
Identity.
Identity, right? You don't lose your identity. Good. What else don't you do?
Making this change.
You don't change. Good. You don't forget, because the word is repeat, and it binds you to the past. If I do the same thing that my father did, who did the same thing that his father did, who did the same, who am I bound to now? My father's 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 father. Right? That is never broken. So this has a binding force. Right? This is a memory aspect. This is about identity, about consistency.
Okay.
All right. What else does this do? It strengthens us. You ever wonder, who am I? Does a little Jewish boy ever wonder, who am I? He knows exactly who he is. Because he is the son of, the son of, the son of, the son of. She is the daughter of, the daughter of, the daughter of, the daughter. So identity is strengthened. This whole quest for identity is gone. Not for the most part. There are obviously other elements. But this strengthens, this gives us identity, it gives us memory, continuity. What else does this do for us?
Security.
Security. Absolutely. We are secure in our family. Yeah, wealth is passed down from generation to generation. Businesses are passed down. I am a shoemaker's son of a shoemaker's son of a shoemaker's son of a shoemaker's son.
But also a sense of peace or safety because you know what to expect because it's always been like this.
Absolutely. A sense of permanence.
Yeah.
And what does our world struggle with? Impermanence, right? Yeah. Worry. Exactly.
They know where they belong.
Yeah. So a sense of belonging. And belonging is about place. Place. Now I know my place in society. Whether I live in Leader or whether I live in Jerusalem or whether I live in Romania, I know who I belong to and I know my place. My place will always be Jerusalem. Wherever I live, that's my heart. My place is there. Okay? So we have this builds an incredibly strong society. This society will resist what? Change and influence. What's that?
A Holocaust?
A Holocaust. It will survive a Holocaust. You can kill 6 million of us and we will survive. Right? That's how strong this mindset is. Right? Now, here's the beauty of it. Judaism just doesn't have that. It has also, what does an auger have? Which direction does an auger go? Upwards, forwards, right? So time goes like this. Because there was, remember the 3 aeons? There was the past, there is the current age, and the age of the Messiah. So time is making progress towards the Messiah. Right? So events, although repetition, actually are experiencing progression. And the beauty of this, it allows the past to touch the present. So the events of the past actually then touch our identity, they touch our nature, they touch our language, they touch our music. The past has an incredibly powerful force and it's almost like the dirt clumps between the flights of the auger. Those events actually connect them too. It brings them up. Exactly, Joyce. Yeah, that's exactly. And as it brings them forward, those events of the past, the Exodus, every time the year turns and we repeat and have Passover, what does it do? It brings that event up and forward to the present. It brings it up and forward. So we celebrate next year, we celebrate Passover again. It brings it up and forward. So the events of the past, always present. So in Judaism, past equals the present.
So we still do that today, right? Because that's Christmas and Easter, those things to remember and
Absolutely. What's an anniversary do?
celebrate.
It makes you feel old, right? It brings the past into the present, right? So we're going to be celebrating someone's 65th birthday coming up, right? What will that do? We will celebrate that day and we'll bring all the events of little baby Joyce and little girl Joyce and all. We'll bring out pictures and we'll bring out all this stuff, and we'll dredge up the past. Dredge it up.
With the auger.
With the auger of memory. And we'll bring it, in the most positive sense. Okay, how else do we do this? What are some key cultural ways that this auger works?
All of their holidays. When they
Yes.
get together, to eat and dance.
Absolutely. Holidays bring it together. What else? Food. We eat the same thing every Christmas, and don't you dare change it, right? Because food does this. We taste that same chocolate cake that we ate when we were 5 years old. We ate grape salad. Exactly. Hey, what else does this? Yes, extensively. Music. If I was to sing a song from your childhood, so what's the song we used to sing in Sunday school years ago? Yeah, Jesus loves me, this I know. If you closed your eyes with me, you're 7 years old again, sitting on that piece of carpet in the basement. Yep, good. Music is critical. Good. What else? Smells.
Oh, yes, because the smells a lot sense bleach.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, here it is.
So what do Jews do? Incense. Incense in the temple, incense in the ceremony, incense in this. They do this, and it's the same. Matter of fact, the recipe for incense is in the Bible. So that when you have your celebration next year and 50 years from now, you light that incense, and it's the exact same smell that you had when you were 3 years old.
Your sense of smell that is connected to your memory.
It's in the same part of your
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And music is the same thing, right? People can have Alzheimer's, they can have stroke, but if you play that music again,
They can sing the words. Yeah. Or
absolutely.
you could be like Madeline.
Yeah.
Yes.
And lo and behold, this is God ordained that this is the flights of the auger that bring history forward, right? So holidays, food, music, smells, anything else you can think of? I'm kind of at the end of my list. I'm looking forward to your list. Anything else? Images. So we call them souvenirs. Right? I bet you if I walk into Shelley's house, there are pictures of her kids when they're young on the wall. Why? Because every time she looks at them, the auger spins one more time. And you have pictures of the farm from years ago, right? Do you have old farm pictures? Yes. Or things that were in your dad's house. And every time you look at them, the auger spins one more time. Like constantly. This is the Jewish concept of time. It's got a fancier name. It's called cyclical duality.
All right. The dually.
The auger's better. But the idea is that it's cyclical and there are two forces at work. The flow of time, what this does is it's able, I got to wrap this up. It's able to hold the past and its nature and its power in tension with the progress towards the future. Where it's very easy here to only think a few links back and to forget about the links back here, right? And say, well, I remember what my father did, my grandfather maybe, but who did what, why, when? And we have a hard time looking back at the links, right? Also, the danger here with this one is extraordinarily easy to break the link. All right. How have we broken the links? How have we violated this?
You changed.
Changed everything.
You changed the music, you changed the food.
Sure.
Yeah.
We changed the smells, we changed the buildings. But architecture is also part of this. The building. Right? We bulldoze buildings. We change music, we change the food, we change how we help celebrate the holidays. We destroy all of this. And we go to church and we don't sing songs that anybody knows. We don't recognize the building. We don't have the traditions that we do. We've changed the name of the building. It all changes. And what we do is we ultimately say that the past is irrelevant. What only matters is today and maybe tomorrow.
The older we get, the more important the past is.
Yes, because there's more flights on the auger.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you only live 2 years, the auger's only spun twice. You might remember, I'm 7. I remember when I was 5. That was a great birthday, right? The auger doesn't have any time. But if the auger is spun around
60 times.
60 times, it has a lot more earth to bring up with it. But that also gives you a lot more strength, a lot more memory, a lot more identity, a greater sense of belonging to place, time, identity. We do this with names. Right. When we name somebody after something, so I'm named after, what we're doing is we're bringing the auger forward. Our son Mark is named after a friend of Mark, right? Or we become Junior. We do this with place names. So the minute we destroy this, we lose this. And one of my biggest, I'll stop now, but one of my biggest issues with the modern church is the destruction of the flights. Matter of fact, it's the breaking of the chain. Because that generation then comes along and says, we don't know who we are. We don't know really where we belong. We have no cultural memory, which means we don't have any strength. We've lost our identity. Our identity is only what I make it today. So what do? I define my identity today. I create my own identity today.
Interesting. Think about some of these modern churches. And it's like the past is a bad thing.
Absolutely.
Like, let's change everything. Like that church you were at, the way they did music.
Yeah.
Like it's almost unsettling, and yet that's what they're giving their people. It's that weird.
So who has the power over identity? We do.
Yeah.
We do right now. What does Judaism say? You don't. You can do certain things.
Bound to it.
Yeah, welcome to it. But and within Judaism, one more last, and I really am going to quit. Clothing. There's another one. Within Judaism, how do people dress? A Jew today looks like a Jew from 100 years ago. An Orthodox hairstyles. Yeah. But what do we do with clothing and fashion?
Subject to the culture.
Subject to the culture. We make it call now. Modernism and postmodernism say that this model is irrelevant. Only this model is, and matter of fact, we are going to break the chains from the past, and we will determine our future, our destiny, our identity. And that is incredibly unbiblical. So in part, this is why as a church, we do things like this.
And even just studying the word, like you just think of like so much of the society doesn't really study, or even churches.
Absolutely.
What do you want to study?
Yeah, you can't understand Jesus without understanding Moses.
Yeah.
And you can understand Colossians without understanding this, but think about what this does for us. What I'm doing is I'm adding flights to the auger, or maybe strengthening that flight so you can bring up more earth. And you'll see the depth of it. All right, I'm going to stop there. All right, we'll pick this up next week with Jesus' concept of time.